So now that I know that Christ was killed for me, I know I have to please my Father. That's the underlying point of John 3:16. That God killed his favorite for me, for me,
they like to talk
for
a lot,
me.
they like to claim leadership, they like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. But they don't really need that authority, they don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this white man, need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah.
That's right. I don't know you. I'm not letting nobody sell you crack. You know why? Because I never saw you before. But you a black man like me. That's right. And it's worth something.
This is Black Watch with Commanding General Yahanna, the only man to lead blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans.
God made man on this earth. The white man he made man. God made man. God wants man to obey him.
Bringing you real news.
You don't need a black man in the White House. You need a black man in every black house.
For many years, there's a lot of black people who didn't realize how deep the racism of white America was.
You ain't gonna do nothing unless you decide where you gonna stand at with the Most High.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Righteous solutions to issues plaguing our nation.
Boy, you better wake up and see the power that is within blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians.
Join us every Monday from 9 to 11 p.m. Black Watch. Let the show begin.
So now that I know that Christ was killed for me, I know I have to please my Father. That's the underlying point of John 3:16. That God killed his favorite for me, for me,
They like to talk
for
a lot,
me.
they like to claim leadership, they like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. But they don't really need that authority, they don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this white man, need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah.
I just sent you two articles. All right, let's clap it up. Shalom, DC, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahanna. Since 1969, we've been teaching the truth of the Bible, and the truth is that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the true Jews, and that our oppressors is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And we want to get into tonight is some more of how the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Today is a devil holiday that was started by the Most High's chosen people, but it became, a thing unto his own because of the oppressor. We can't have nothing. We can't have nothing, and it is proven time and time again. Whatever we have, whatever we do, whatever we're involved in, the oppressor takes it and runs with it. You know what I'm saying? The oppressor is a natural-born thief, natural-born liar. Everything that they have did not come from them. You know what I'm saying? From their lands to their might, it did not come from them. They stole it. They stole it and transmogrified, did something to it, and made the world believe that they are the baddest thing since sliced bread. When in truth, they don't come up with nothing. They don't come up with anything except new lies. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to get into exactly how and when Memorial Day was started. If you could, Pagaiboa, get me the VA article. Now, this article is coming from Department of Veterans Affairs, right? And it is and it's an official, it's an official government agency, and this holiday is coming from or celebrating or remembering the military members who's given their lives for this country, right? So if something comes out from the Department of Veteran Affairs, you would think that it's they've done their research, they've done their homework, their due diligence, and you would think that they would come out with their findings would be something honorable. I wouldn't say honorable. Their findings will be accurate. That's a better word. Since it's in their backyard, this has everything to do with them. This Department of Veteran Affairs. But we're going to read this, and then we're going to read a few other things, and we're going to see who's telling the truth and who's lying. All right, Shalom, Akim. Don't worry about that. You here on class, right? When you can be physically here, we'll meet you here. And for this other brother who says he is who he is, you're gonna have to come in here and prove that. I'm not just gonna take your word for it. If you are, I want you to prove yourself. Make yourself known. Come through and prove that you are who you say you are. Other than that, you just another person talking online. And we all know how that is everybody who's online talks.
Right.
Wait, hold on. All right, okay. All right, Elijah. I'm gonna tell you one thing and one thing only. Drugs are bad, okay?
That's right.
Get off that weed, get off that heroin, get off that Molly. Whatever you doing, stop. Just stop. Just statements you making right now, it's showing who you really serve. It's showing exactly who you really serve. Stop doing drugs. That's the best thing I can tell you to do. Stop doing drugs, and maybe you'll hear exactly what we're saying. You got that article?
All
right, let's start with that.
The origins of Memorial Day. 3 years after the Civil War ended on May 5th, 1868.
All right, so how long was that? How long was that after the Civil War ended? I just want to be perfectly clear.
3 years after the Civil War ended.
All right, so 3 years after the Civil War ended, right? They gave a specific date, right? And the title of this article is what?
The origins of Memorial Day.
All right, so they cut into the chase, right? All right, keep going.
Come. 3 years after the Civil War ended on May 5th, 1868, the head of an organization of Union veterans, the Grand Army of the Republic, GAR, established Decoration Day as a time for the nation to decorate the graves of the war dead with flowers. Major General John A. Logan declared it should be May 30th. It is believed the date was chosen because flowers would be in bloom all over the country.
All right, so they chose this date really because I'm gonna tell you straight. Really, is because it's. I mean, I'm not gonna say the opposite, but it really is the opposite of the month, the day of the month that it was originally founded. Right. So remember this date, May 30th, and that's who the head of the GAR, Major General John Logan, he declared it to be a holiday. You know what I'm saying? This was his decree. He wanted this to happen, so he declared it to be so. Keep reading.
Come. The first large observance was held that year at Arlington National Cemetery.
Say that one more time. The what?
The first large observance.
The what?
The first large observance.
All right. So according to these devils, the official government organization for veterans and retired and former military members, they're saying that this is the first time in history that Memorial Day has been actually really observed in a large fashion, right? So this is according to the oppressor, right? And what does devil really mean according to the Bible? What does the devil mean?
Deceiver.
It means deceiver. Anything they say, you should always take with the mindset of what's their angle. Because once you find out, their angle, you can find the lie. You can sniff out the lie, right? What they're saying is nothing but lies. And honestly, really, they didn't really have to lie. You know what I'm saying? They really didn't have to. Once we actually read what's going on, you really didn't have to lie. Keep going.
Come. The first large observance was held that year at Arlington National Cemetery, across the Potomac River from Washington, D.C.
Now, if anybody's ever been to Arlington National Cemetery, it's a pretty large mass piece of land that's out there. In 1868, it was not that big. It was not what you know it to be now. You know what I'm saying? It is not what you know it to be now. And the reason, here's a little more history on Arlington National Cemetery. Arlington National Cemetery was the house, the estate, I should say, the estate of the Confederate president, Robert E. Lee. They wanted to disrespect him. So the reason why once the Union won the war, they made his estate, his personal property, his house, his home, his family home into a cemetery. So it was a house. You know what I'm saying? It was someone's. It was the Confederate president's property. It was his land. So the Union decided to disrespect him in the utmost way and make it into a graveyard. So back then, this cemetery is not even as large as it was as it is right now. So they're saying this is the first time a lot of people got together and supposedly celebrated this day of memoriam. Right? Keep going.
Come. The ceremony centered around the mourning draped veranda of the Arlington Mansion, once the home of General Robert E. Lee. It's like I got to read that over. I mispronounced it.
No sweat.
The ceremony centered around the mourning draped veranda of the Arlington Mansion, once the home of General Robert E. Lee. Various Washington officials, including General and Mrs. Ulysses S. Grant, presided over the ceremonies. After speeches, children from the Soldiers and Sailors Orphan Home and members of the GAR.
Who?
And members of the GAR.
No, before that?
After speeches, children from the Soldiers and Sailors Orphan Home and members of the GAR.
All right, so now we got children involved, right? So you see in how the way things are shaped up, right? So they got people of importance. They got people who were able to give speeches. They even got children involved. They got children involved in this whole shindig. They in Esau's military, they would call this the dog and pony show. So they got a whole template on how to commemorate this day of memoriam, right? Keep going.
Come. After speeches, children from the Soldiers and Sailors Orphan Home and members of the GAR made their way through the cemetery, strewing flowers on both Union and Confederate graves, reciting prayers and singing hymns.
Reciting what?
Reciting prayers and singing hymns.
I wonder why they decided to add that into this ceremony. I wonder why, that was part of, them going down and having a memoriam to the fallen soldiers, so they would, say prayers and sing hymns. They didn't make any mention of any, preachers or anything like that, but they decided to put that specific, there's that stamp on it. I wonder why, because really a lot of devils claim to be religious, but then they do a lot of hellish stuff. They do a lot of hellish stuff. Point in case is with that war. That war was the bloodiest war in U.S. history. If anybody knows, more people died in the U.S. Civil War than any other war the U.S. has ever participated in combined. That was the bloodiest war. And not only was that the bloodiest war, the people that got maimed and killed didn't die easy, didn't go easy. You know what I'm saying? They were shot by, what do you call it? Black powder guns. Where you them one-shot guns where they had these, round bullets just dropping in there. If people may not know how the way guns are, made. The reason why, and essentially those guns at that time was like little miniature cannonballs. If you know, a cannonball is just, it's just stuffed in, packed into a cannon, and it's propelled out with, a bunch of gunpowder, with a bunch of gunpowder, and just propelled out, right? Bullets nowadays, they came up with they found out that if you actually had a spiral within the barrel of the gun, it actually goes further. So back then, they didn't have that spiral. It was just a ball, and it just kind of and shot out, and it went whatever direction it took. And once it got into you, a lot of times it didn't come out. And if it didn't come out, you would die of some sepsis or lead poisoning. You would go slow. You know what I'm saying? You would go slow. It was a painful, brutish death. And that's what, really the Civil War was about. And the Civil War was about, a lot of Southerners love to claim that the Civil War wasn't about slaves. It was about their rights. What does that sound like today? Who is fighting for their right to choose?
The LGBTQI mafia.
They're part of it. But not really. The reason why I would say not really is because they wouldn't even participate in the act of getting pregnant to have the right to choose, the quote unquote right to choose. That's what in the past couple of weeks since the decision for Roe v. Wade came down. That's been big in the news. The right, their quote unquote women's right. That was their choice, and or supposedly their choice. That's what they're fighting for. That's exactly what these Confederates were saying back in the 1800s. They were saying, you're taking my right. The states, they were calling it states' rights. It was their right. Their right for what? To own slaves, to own human beings. Not only own human beings, but to own the Most High's chosen people. To keep their boot on our necks. Now, they don't have us in slavery as they did back in the 1800s, but they still damn sure have us in slavery right now. We are still enslaved to this very same people that brought us over here in slave ships, that kidnapped us, beat us over the head, drug us over, branded us, stripped us of our identity, our integrity, our God, our culture, our language. stripped us of everything, and told us we were nothing. We were good for nothing. We were nothing but property. We had no feelings. We had no choices. We had no minds to think. We're nothing but animals. And the only way that we would amount to something is if we do exactly what they say. This is the type of people that went to war to fight for that right. They would kill and die for that right, joyfully. These are the type of people that are the nation is honoring. Read that part again. Hold on. Read the part where it says, read that last sentence.
Come. After speeches, children from the soldiers and sailors orphan home and members of the GAR made their way through the cemetery, strewing flowers on both strewing flowers on both Union and Confederate graves.
So both the Union people were the quote unquote people who were trying to free the slaves, right? They were trying to free us. Not only were they trying to free us, but they was trying to send us back. That was part of the Lincoln's plan. It was trying to send us back to what they thought was our homeland, Africa, which it wasn't. That was a hideout for us. Christ told us to go into the mountains when desolation is nigh, and that's exactly what we did. We was hiding out. That's not our homeland. That's not where we come from. But back to this part. If you're celebrating Memorial Day, you're not only celebrating the people who wanted to send us back to a place where people rounded us up and sold us to another people who they thought was our homeland, and you're celebrating the people who bought you. Now it doesn't matter if it was Union or Confederate soldiers. Both sides of the party bought us and sold us and kept us in slavery. So those are the people that you're celebrating. It originated from that. That much is true. There are Confederates as well as Union soldiers that are buried in Arlington National Cemetery. Everybody out there waving a small American flag or going on barbecues or going to the beach and having a picnic, whatever these bastards do on Memorial Day. I don't remember. I totally forgot. I got my head in the work. This is all I care about. The reason why it's all I care about is so I can actually do more, so that there won't be any more Uvalde, Texas events. There won't be no more Buffalo shootings. There won't be no more there won't be any more incidences like Ahmaud Arbery's. You know what I'm saying? There won't be any more incidences like Alton Sterling. That's why I don't serve Memorial Day. That's why I don't celebrate Christmas or anybody's birthday. And so that we don't have to worry about Amber Geiger's kicking in our doors and saying that she thought it was her door. Like, are you serious? I don't care how tired I am. I know what my door looks like. I know where my door is. You're a goddamn liar. You're a goddamn liar. And if I hear somebody say I can't breathe, I'm going to, if I am causing them not to breathe, it's because I want that. And if I want them to breathe, I would let up. I would stop doing what I'm doing. But these devils don't. Why? Because they're devils. They want us in captivity. Because there was a time that they could do all of this and not have to spend, whatever amount of money it is to go to court and defend themselves. They were able to do this freely. And there was a war started over it. there was a war, the bloodiest war in U.S. history started over this right here. Right? Let's continue on. Let's read a little more.
Come. Local observances claim to be first. Local springtime tributes to the Civil War dead already had been held in various places. One of the first occurred in Columbus, Mississippi, April 25th, 1866, when a group of women visited a cemetery to decorate the graves of Confederate soldiers who had fallen in battle at Shiloh. Nearby were the graves of Union soldiers, neglected because they were the enemy. Disturbed at the sight of the bare graves, the women placed some of their flowers on those graves.
Wait, hold on. Bring me back. Read that from the top one more time.
Come. Local springtime tributes to a Civil War dead already had been held in various places.
All right, so it's saying it already had been held in various places, right? So why is it saying the first one was in 1865? Why? At the very beginning, 3 years after the Civil War, the first one was in 1868. But here, in the very next section, they're saying that it's been held, in other places. So in the very same article, it's contradicting itself. But keep going.
Come. One of the first occurred in Columbus, Mississippi, April 25th, 1866, when a group of women visited a cemetery to decorate the graves of Confederate soldiers who had fallen in battle at Shiloh.
All right, so right here, right off the bat, where is this location?
Down south in Confederate territory.
Down south in Confederate territory. Who fought? What side of the coin were the Confederates for? For slavery or against slavery? Are you serious? Salakia, hold on. Salakia, give me a moment.
Yeah.
I hope whoever that was, God kills you. That's what I pray for.
That's right.
I hope your family is going to hold memoriam for you because of what God is going to do to you. Let's keep going.
Come.
Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, as I was saying, whose side were the Confederates on? For slavery or against slavery?
For.
They were for slavery. So it would lead you to think that in the South, right after the dang on Civil War, it still wasn't safe for black people to just walk around and for a group of women to just walk around. So it would be safe to assume that these were white women.
Right.
It would be safe to assume that these were white women. History bears it. It doesn't say in this article because, they have to have an appearance of, unity. So they're not going to make a difference. But if you look at any other article, this was a group of white women that took it upon themselves to honor their fallen soldiers and put roses or whatever flowers on the graves of the dead, right? And because it was a group of white women, we're gonna get to that later. Let's keep going.
Come. Nearby were the graves of Union soldiers, neglected because they were the enemy. Disturbed at the sight of the bare graves, the women placed...
Wait, hold on. Read. Don't just pass by that. Read that one. That's that line again.
Come. Disturbed at
before that.
Come.
All right, so right here is showing that the white woman put flowers on the Confederate graves. Right? Because that's who they were honoring. Keep reading.
Come. Nearby,
close by, in the vicinity, not 7 miles away, not even 1 mile away, because you know, back in the 1800s, there was no car. There was no scooters that you can rent on the side of the road. You know what I'm saying? There was no bikes that you can just, you know, put your phone to, scan and take the bike away to. It was close by. Right. Most likely, if anybody's ever seen a military gravesite, even back then, even back then, you know, a lot of stuff is really unorganized. But the military is supposed to be some sort of organization to it. They would have a Confederate area, and then right next to it, they would have, you know, a Union area. So a Confederate cemetery right next to a Union cemetery. That's how they did it in the South, right? And the North, it was a bit different. And technically speaking, Arlington, Virginia is technically the South. It's technically the South. But in Arlington, Virginia, they had both Confederate and Union soldiers commingled, mixed together. When I say commingled, I mean it will be a Confederate, Union, Confederate, Union, Confederate. Next row, Confederate, Union, whatever body was up, however the way they organize it, it was commingled in that same area. So it wasn't this section is Confederate, this section is Union, and since we're talking about the races was not integrated, another section way back over there in the bad area, you know what I'm saying, that didn't, the bad grounds area, those were where the colored Negroes were buried. Just throw them back over there. That's how the way it was. But here, it was a distinction between the Union and the Confederates. Now they took care for the Confederate. These white women took care for the Confederate cemeteries, the graves. How they do with the Union? What?
Come. Nearby were the graves of Union soldiers, neglected because they were the enemy.
Because they were the enemy, they were neglected. So what they were saying was they didn't give a hot damn about the Union soldiers. So it really wasn't a memoriam for fallen soldiers. It was a memoriam for fallen Confederate soldiers. They were fighting for their right to keep slaves. They were fighting for their right to abuse. And if you ever read, history, the more violent slave master was not the man. As mean and devilish, as mean as wicked, as unconceivably, wrong as the white slave master was, the white slave woman, Mrs., was even worse. Like we see, movies and whatnot about, how the way the slave master was harsh on us. And he was harsh on us. He was absolute wrong in how the way he treated us. But he did not hold a light. He did not hold a candlelight to the quote unquote Mrs. She had absolutely nothing to do but think of devilish ways, think of evil, wicked ways to torture the Most High's children. And people say, you might have had it, the house nigga had it easy because they lived in the house. Well, they were around the missus. And she was even worse. This is not what I'm saying. You can go read this in books from people who were actually slaves, and people actually, took accounts. The more cruel and wicked punishment that was put on them because of the missus, quote unquote missus. The slave master or the overseer, the cracker might have actually meted out the punishment, but it was the missus who thought of it and who ordered it. You know what I'm saying? So this white woman didn't want to have anything to do with the people who fought against her brothers, her fathers, her husbands, and killed them. So they neglected it. Keep going.
Come. Disturbed at the sight of the bare graves, the women placed some of their flowers on those graves as well. Today, cities in the north and the south claim to be the birthplace of Memorial Day in 1866.
Now they claim to do it in 1866. That was what? 2 years before. That was 2 years before the Major General Logan had declared, the official Memorial Day. So all these people are grabbing, the trying to grab. Hey, we did it first. We did it first. We were the ones who did it. It was our story. But if you look back in history, this Major General Logan, he decided to use the narrative that these white women from Mississippi, he decided to use that story as the origin or the birthplace, or his thought. He got it from that story. When I say he got it from that, so he decided to choose that story because it was quote unquote pure. It was white. That's why he chose to do it, and really had nothing else to do about it. That's all we need for that one. Give me the next article, the Time magazine article.
Come. The overlooked Black history of Memorial Day.
Overlooked Black history of Memorial Day. I wonder why they're calling it that. I wonder why they're saying this. Why is it overlooked? Well, let's read on. Read that caption. Read that caption. Now they're showing a picture of a field with some. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up. Bear with me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let's see what's the name of the title of the. Here we go. All right, I got it. Let me share the screen. All right, read that caption.
Come. An April 1865 photo of the graves of Union soldiers buried at the race course turned Confederate prison.
All right, if you guys can hear me, we got the screen back up. If you guys can hear me, just give me a 1 in the comments. All right, Most High in Christ, the water. All right. The oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
Hold on. I'm going to try and get that picture back up. And show you how we do.
Video, audio to also.
Video, okay. Most High in Christ. All right. Y'all see the okay, so the video the picture is back up. Picture is back up. And read that caption again one more time, Baba Kishore.
Come. An April 1865 photo of the graves of Union soldiers buried at the racecourse turned Confederate prison, where historians believe the earliest Memorial Day ceremony took place.
So this is the site of the earliest memorial celebration right here. You see how look at how organized that is. It's simple, it's clean, and it's organized. And we're going to read exactly how that came about. How this picture that you're seeing came about. Right? Let's read. Let's continue on.
Come. Nowadays, Memorial Day honors veterans of all wars, but its roots are in America's deadliest conflict, the Civil War.
Civil War. Tell them how deadly this war was.
Answer. Approximately 620,000 soldiers died.
That's on both sides combined. Keep going.
Come. About 2/3 from disease.
About 2/3 from disease. Like I was telling you, how the way when people got shot, a lot of times they had like field services, field hospitals, where they was just out, operating on the soldiers and whatnot. Maybe had a tent up around them and whatnot, and it was a lot of death and a lot of rags that they would use to clot something, and then they would just take that, maybe throw some water on it, or have a bucket of water, rinse that out, and then put it. They think it's clean, and put on another wound, and then take that. Once it gets too bloody, put that in the same pot, try and rinse that out, and then get it to another soldier. A lot of times they got diseases from that. You know what I'm saying? And 2/3 of them died because of that. 2/3 died. If they are so, this was such a Christian, Christian country, and they actually read the Bible, you would know to separate people who are bleeding. That's in the law. They had something in Europe called the Black Plague because they didn't know how to wash their hind parts. They didn't know how to wash correctly. They didn't know how to clean themselves. The Black Plague was quote unquote the bubonic plague, and it came about because there was cesspools running in the streets. There was open sewage in the streets. People weren't bathing properly. There's a term it came from my oppressor. You ever heard of the don't throw the baby out with the bathwater? You ever heard that term? You know where that comes from? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Well, back in times past, in these times, Civil War times, they wouldn't take baths every day. They wouldn't take baths every week. They wouldn't take baths every month. A lot of times it was like a spring cleaning. So once, maybe twice a year. I'm serious. You can look this up. So when they went to take baths, and you've seen some of these old Western movies where there's a big old tub. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a real bath, but it's a big old tub. You know what I'm saying? They will fill that up with water, and the oldest down to the youngest would be able to bathe. So we'll start with the father, then the mother, then the oldest kid, and so on and so forth. Whenever they finish with them cleaning themselves, the next person will then get in. The next person will then get in and bathe, right? But they're bathing with dirty goddamn water. So imagine after a time, after the first person, really, after the first person, that dude ain't bathing a year. He outside working, you know what I'm saying, in the fields and whatnot, you know, like Farmer Joe's or whatnot, them lumberjacks. He ain't bathing. That water is dirty and disgusting. By the time you get down to a little kid, little baby, that bath water is black. So that term is don't throw, because they don't know who's still in there. Because the water is so goddamn dirty. You can't see, you can't see nothing. You can't see nothing. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's where that term comes from. These are some nasty, disgusting, vile people. And if they actually open up and read how to clean yourself and how to stay clean, 2/3, I'm not going to say 2/3 would have, but 2/3 of them died because of disease. And a lot of it could have been prevented with just being clean. Just being clean. But these devils don't know nothing about, they don't know nothing. They don't know now about cleanliness. Seriously. That's where, you know, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But that was on another subject. Salakia. I just went off on a tangent. But let's keep reading about you know, Memorial Day.
The work of honoring the dead began right away all over the country, and several American towns claim to be the birthplace of Memorial Day.
Right? A lot of people claim to do it first, but it could only be one real first. Keep going.
Researchers have traced the earliest annual commemoration to women who laid flowers on soldiers' graves in the Civil War hospital town of Columbus, Mississippi, in April 1866.
April 1866. A bunch of white women who did this. That's who they say? Researchers. When they say researchers, they're looking, you know, they're not looking in scouring every place. Because if they looked and scoured every place, they would actually find some truth. And once they actually find some truth, they'd be like, nah, this white nation can't, you know, have a holiday to celebrate something as important as honoring the dead soldiers. Left up to blacks. These jigaboos, these coons, these, what they call us? Porch monkeys. You know what I'm saying? It can't be, it cannot be founded on that. So we're gonna have it founded on these what did Quake call them? He calls them he calls them the lily white whatever something. I forget what Earthquake calls it, but pilot purebred. It has to be on pilot purebred. It has to be founded on because there's one thing a devil would fight and die for. And will be his poly purebred, his woman. Even though I just brought out these mother ain't so pure at all. Well, there's a reason why there's a connotation of how the way they smell. There's a reason. We're not just making this up. Right. There's a lot of truth behind it. I saw a video. This woman had an interview. This oppressor had an interview, and she said this proudly. And I've heard other people since say something similar. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. You know who they are? Them people on That 70s Show. Anyway, them two oppressors said something similar to what I'm about to say. This Esau said. She said she does not bathe every day, and when she does, all she does is wash, like with soap, wash her hair because she believes that when she's washing her hair, the soap will then run down her body and clean her body as well. You are a disgusting, vile. You make me want to vomit. Yes. And like I said, these celebrities, Ashton Kutcher, Michelle Kunis, Mila Kunis, they're on camera saying this. Yes, this is what we do. They say they don't bathe every day. And then when they do bathe, all they do is hit the hot spot, the quote unquote hot spots. That's all they do is hit the hot spots and then just keep on going. There's a reason why, the Most High sends plagues of that nature to these people. There is something called typhoid. Man, typhoid almost cleared out the U.S. in the early days. Why? Because mugs don't know how to cover their mouth when they cough. You know what I'm saying? Just and just have a cloud of disease just spread out throughout the place. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the subject. That's not the subject. Again, I'm getting off on I'm going off on a tangent on Esau. They are some. Let's keep going. So where we left off was this is where Logan, that 3-star general, that 2-star general, decided to base his Memorial Day off of. But remember, what did these women do? All they did was lay some flowers down. Right. Do you remember? Can you describe how the way the ceremony was?
They went to lay down flowers for the Confederate soldiers.
No, I'm not talking about these devils. I'm talking about like the official one, the Major General Logan. What all he did to commemorate. All right, so you stay right there. I'm gonna go back to it, and it says he did flowers. And he did it around that time because he said he thought all the flowers would be in bloom. And he did it on the 30th. He said centered around morning drape veranda at the mansion. He had speeches. He had children. He had prayers. And they were singing hymns. And they were strewing flowers on both Union and Confederate graves. That's how they did in their first official one, right? Now let's read what happened in 1865. A year before these devils just threw flowers on some graves. Continue reading.
Come. But historians like the Pulitzer Prize winner David Blight have tried to raise awareness of freed slaves who decorated soldiers' graves a year earlier. To make sure their story gets told too.
Now they say he's a Pulitzer Prize winning author. Pulitzer Prize is something sort of a championship, an MVP. Give me some. First place. You know what I'm saying? It's a yearly award for people who are in journalism. And the Pulitzer Prize, I want to say, is like the top award you can get for being a journalist. So he was this caliber of journalist when he delivered his findings. So it was not just some Joe Schmo who just try to think of some story or do this or that. This was an award-winning journalist. We're not doing a video.
No, school video.
Oh, our video?
Concert. Well, it might just be me.
Nah, it's still going. All right, yeah, it's still going. But continue reading.
Come. According to Blight's 2001 book, Race and Reunion, the Civil War in American Memory, a commemoration organized by freed slaves and some white missionaries took place on May 1st, 1865.
Where?
In Charleston, South Carolina, at a former planters racetrack where Confederates held captured Union soldiers during the last year of the war.
All right, so this place was basically a prison. It was a POW camp where the Confederate soldiers held prisoners. And if anybody knows anything about, camps like this, places like this, there's dead on both sides. There's dead on both sides, especially if it's this. We're going to say the number of dead soldiers that was there. Battles took place at this particular place, and not only did it take place at this particular place, but since it was like in the quote unquote rear, like the front, there you have the front line, and then you have like the rear where support is usually held. Fighters would come up to the battle line, fight, and then come back. They'll either hold the line or they would have to retreat to a safer place. If they hold the line, they will still have supplies back in another area where it's off the battle line, where it's not going to be susceptible to attack. So this was more of a support place where they took prisoners, they took casualties. So there was both Confederates as well as Union people that had died here. And what did the Confederates do? I'm gonna tell you what the Confederates did. In that last year, what they did was they just had a mass grave. That's what they did. It was like, man, I ain't got no time for that. Dug one big hole and put all the bodies in there, covered it up, and bounced. That's how they honored, quote unquote, honored the dead. That's how the way they did it. It took freed slaves to come by and say, this is not right. This is not right. It shouldn't be like this. You know how the way those Esau women looked at the Confederate soldiers and then looked at the Union soldiers like, yeah, whatever. Couldn't even put flowers on there. Well, this is what the freed slaves did. Continue reading.
Come. At least 257 prisoners died, many of disease, and were buried in unmarked graves. So black residents of Charleston decided to give them a proper burial.
Give them a proper burial. So this is what they did. They decided to give them a proper burial. Keep going.
Come. In the approximately 10 days leading up to the event, roughly 24 African-American Charlestonians reorganized the graves into rows and built a 10-foot tall white fence around them.
So hold on. Let me just show you that picture again. So you see how the way the rows are. This is organized. Again, they were buried in a mass grave. The Charlestonians, the 24 black Charlestonians of the freed slaves, they came in and organized these grave sites. That's what they did. They made it nice and neat. The oppressors didn't do anything like this. They were buried. All of these people here, this whole grave site was one large grave site. They just piled bodies on top of each other. One big hole, piled bodies on top of each other, and then covered them up. We went there, organized the graves, and redug them up. We said Esau is a vile, vain beast. We didn't do this for any notoriety. We did this because we thought it was the right thing to do. We felt it was the right thing to do. Many of us, and this is what we did. So we dug them up, and gave them each separate, grave site, and made a distinction of who they were. So that if their family wanted to come, they can have a memoriam for their loved one. And it was a marked grave site. Black people did it. Now, I don't know if you know, I don't know if anybody's ever done this. If anybody's ever dug a hole more than 2 feet, that's some hard work. That's some hard work. Now, you talking about digging 257 6 feet by what is, I want to say like 3-4 feet, 6 by 4, 6 by 3 feet, 6 feet deep, 4 feet wide. You got to be an animal to be able to do something like that. And they did this in 10 days. They did this in 10 days. You have to be tip-top shape. Now, I wouldn't advise, I'm in the truth now, so my thinking will be something else. You know what I'm saying? But they put in work, back-breaking work. If anybody's ever been in South Carolina, they know it's not only is it hot, especially this time of year, not only is it hot, it's humid as all get out. It's humid as hell out there. And then to be doing manual labor straight like that, come on, man. For who? The descendants of the people who brought you over here in chains? Nah, they weren't worth it. They weren't worth it. They weren't worth it. They were not worth it. Keep going.
Come. An archway overhead spelled out martyrs of the race course in black letters.
So they even, fix it up and put this around, around the joint. Right? Now, let's see if this was a big event. Maybe this was just, the 24, 34, 50 people that was in the town that had something to do with it. Maybe it wasn't a big event, and that's why it was overlooked. Maybe that's why. Keep reading.
Okay. About 10,000 people.
How much?
10,000 people.
So 10,000 is not a small number. It's not a number that you can just sneeze at. 10,000 is a large number. Keep going.
Okay. About 10,000 people, mostly black residents.
Mostly niggas. Mostly niggas. Keep going.
Okay. Participated in the May 1st tribute, according to coverage back then in the Charleston Daily Courier and the New York Tribune.
So back then, there was articles not only in that city, but in New York, one of the largest cities in the Union, quote unquote, the Union. They published an article about this. So this wasn't just small news. This wasn't just some local yokel just talking some crap. It was a big event. It was a huge event. Keep going.
Come. Starting at 9 a.m., about 3,000 black school children.
How many?
3,000 black school children.
So there's that element of the kids that I was talking about. There's an element of the kids. Where do they get the idea to have kids involved in this event? Us. Keep going.
Come. About 3,000 black school children paraded around the racetrack holding roses and singing the Union song, John Brown's Body.
The Union song. We had no business doing none of this. Even though we did it, we had no business doing this. We had no business doing this. And when people want to say, well, they fought and they lost life and limb for your freedom. Well, we wouldn't have been in this position if you didn't take us. If you didn't kidnap us. You owe us more than your life and your limb and your sanity for what you've done to us. For over 100 years, at that point, over 100 years, that for the things that you done to us, destroyed us, utterly grounded our bones into powder, stripped our name, our religion, took our women and our children from us, raped us, forced us to care for your kids before we can even look after ours. And then you have the audacity to say that the greatest man that ever walked this earth looked like you, and if we followed you, then one day if we were good enough to master on earth, then we will be good enough to go to heaven when we die, where supposedly master will be. All that stuff that you done to us, I is the very least that you would risk life and limb to get us out of that situation. And really, you did not get us out of that situation. You found a clever way, a more subtle way. The scripture says that they are the most subtle beasts on earth. So they found a more subtle way to keep us in chains, to keep us in slavery, to keep us impoverished, to keep us having us to hold our hands out up to them and for them to give us a handout. They found ways to do this. So you losing life and limb, I don't care. That is the very least that you can do. I want more. I want your servitude. I want your obedience. I want power. I want power over you just the way you had power over us.
Right.
And you should be so lucky. You should be so lucky, so fortunate that you would be slaves to us, because we will never treat you the way you treated us. Now, you are going to get the whip on the back. You are going to get that. You are going to get your foot chopped off if you try and run. You are going to get locks put around your neck with jingle bells on them if you escape. You are going to get your hamstring cut off if you try and run more than a couple times. You have babies, you are going to have them taken away from you, and ain't going to be a goddamn thing that you can do about it. Now, I say all that, and you say, well, how are we lucky to get that? Well, you're lucky because we're not going to rape you. You're lucky because we're not going to rape your women. You're lucky because we're not going to there's so many. Now we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. If we feel that it's time for that baby to come, and you don't feel it's time for that baby to come, that baby's coming. That baby's coming. But a lot of we're not gonna feed you unlawful things. You're not gonna allow to be eating bat. Not gonna be allowed to be eating pork. As much as you love your pork chops and your bacon, you're not going to be allowed to eat that. We're not going to feed you the things. We're not going to feed you crabs and shrimp and crab and lobster. That may be a delicacy now, but once upon a time, that was all that we could eat because you would not give us anything. But we will give you some rotten corn. We will give you some spoiled milk. I ain't gonna drink it. My family ain't gonna drink it. But you're more than welcome to drink that spoiled milk. You're more than welcome to eat this rotten flesh. After we have a feast and after 3-4 days and no refrigeration, you can have it. Go ahead. It ain't gonna be unlawful. But see, you bastards did some unspeakable things to us. And those unspeakable things we're not going to do to you. So you are so lucky to have us as slave masters. Let's keep going. I'm getting off off track. We're really talking about this. Salakia.
Continue, sir.
Yeah, continue.
I'll start get out of the sentence. Starting at 9 a.m., about 3,000 black school children paraded around the racetrack holding roses and singing the Union song, John Brown's Body, and were followed by adults representing aid societies.
Hold on. Slakia. Who is this Catch E. Edwards? This dude is saying another line clutch. Black men that want more than one woman to smash. You sound like a halfway homosexual. You sound gay as hell. What I don't understand. So I understand women saying, man, that's really not fair. You can have more than one woman because woman is really, possessive, selfish. You know what I'm saying? I get that. I understand that. But what in the world? Why would a man fight having more than one woman? Why would a man fight having more than one woman? What about you says it's wrong to have more than one woman? And when I say this, by no means am I talking about anybody going out there popping whores, going out there smashing some chicken and throwing her away. I am not talking about that. What I am talking about is if you decide to lie with a woman, that she is going to be yours forever. And if you decide to take on that responsibility, that is your decision. So why in the world are you saying you cannot have more than one woman? Okay, so he says, so Jesus didn't smash Mary. So that means no one can have a woman. You're about as dumb as a bag of rocks. Because Christ didn't because it says Christ didn't have a woman. Does that mean not nobody can have a woman? Is that what that means? Because that's what it sounds like you're saying, stupid. You sound retarded. You make no sense. The best thing you can do is shut your mouth and continue watching class. Matter of fact, you need to be right here in class. That's what you need to do. Because you sounding real gay right now.
Right.
Yo, I don't understand these people, yo. Seriously, I do not understand these people. Why?
Sloppy, sir, if I may.
What's up?
It's because he's scared of the woman that he got right now. Yo, punk.
Okay, hold on.
Most respectful.
Yo, this dude, I don't understand. I don't understand this. I don't understand. I don't understand the LGBTQ community. But that's exactly what he's part of. That's exactly what he's part of. That's exactly what he's part of. Listen. Let me say this once, and I pray you understand this. Any man that is I'm talking specifically to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Anybody else, you can kick rocks. I don't care what you do. But as far as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, if you want one wife, have one wife. If you want more than one wife, have more than one wife. But I would say get counsel on that. If you want to have 0 wives, have 0 wives. That is your prerogative. What you are saying is the same thing as saying you can only eat steak from a lamb. Oh, I can't have beef. I can't have chicken. I can't have what Jeremy Hyman is about to have when he goes up to Canada, some moose. I can't have that. Is that what you're saying? You sound unlearned. You're trying to come off as, as this very learned person, but you sound stupid. You sound stupid. If you don't want more than one woman, do not get more than one woman. But don't stop anybody else from getting more than one woman. Especially when the Most High says we can't do that. I would rather obey the Most High than obey your dumb than you. Because you're proving that you know nothing.
But there's no law, there's no sin, sir.
Why would Christ liken the kingdom of heaven to having more than one woman if it was so evil, was so wicked? See, you talk about one thing, you try to bring one thing out, and these people try and do the Kansas City shuffle, go do the okie doke. Nah, nigga, we ain't talking about that. We talking about having more than one woman. And why you so halfway effeminate. That's what we talking about. Don't try and change the subject and move on to something else. These dudes, man. And women. Look at how effeminate these guys are. Like, serious? I'm telling you, I'm going to have more than one woman. This dude is going to have more than one woman, but he's going to sneak behind your back. He's going to throw her away. He is going to cause daughters of Zion more than likely. He's going to be with just like Ricky Williams with a white woman. That's who this guy is.
And take her last name.
Oh, that's who he is. That's who he is. I ain't got time for this. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
God. Black pastors delivered sermons and led attendees in prayer and in the singing of spirituals. And there were picnics. James read past.
Hold on. You want me to show you? Come to class. I'll show you. Come to class and I will show you. That's all. That's all. Let's keep going. Keep going. Let's ignore this fool.
Come. James Redpath, the white director of Freedmen's Education in the region.
Oh, where are you?
2 sentences down under.
Go to black pastors. Wait, hold on. Nah, starting at 9 a.m. with the 3,000 children.
Come. Starting at 9 a.m., about 3,000 black school children paraded around the racetrack, holding roses and singing the Union song, John Brown's Body.
All right, so this is where they got the children aspect from. Keep going.
Okay. And were followed by adults representing aid societies for free black men and women.
So it was a whole bunch of different groups that was in support. There were abolitionists. You know what I'm saying? There were abolitionists that came to celebrate this ceremony, this memoriam. Keep going.
Okay. Black pastors.
Who?
Black pastors.
Who?
Black pastors.
Okay, so that whole part of praying and singing hymns, they didn't think of that all themselves. It came from this memoriam. Keep going.
Okay. Black pastors delivered sermons and led attendees in prayer and in the singing of spirituals.
And singing of spirituals. So they were singing hymns too. So they plagiarized everything about how the way we did it to honor them, to honor these people who did not need to be honored. If they wanted to be honored, they shouldn't have been honored by us. They should have been honored by their own people. That's who they should have been honored by, not by us. Keep going.
Okay. And there were picnics.
And they were. You can't stop. You can't stop us from cooking out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You get a couple black people, who got the music. Someone got the potato salad. Someone got the grill. We doing something. We doing something. It was a party. It was a big party. This is where they got the idea of Memorial Day from us. And it's spelling out for you exactly how the way we did it. Not only that, the official Department for Veteran Affairs, the government arm, is saying that they did it and they had no knowledge of this whatsoever. But it was in the New York Tribune. It was in one of the major New York publications at the time. New York has always been a large city. You know what I'm saying? A metropolis. The numbers may not have been the same, but in comparison to other townships and other cities and other towns and whatnot, it was always one of the more major places. So if any place had some publication on it and it came from New York, 9 times out of 10, I ain't gonna say 9 times out of 10. I would say a lot of times most people knew about it because it came from New York. Because it came from New York. Now this Esau is straight up taking what we do, straight up hijacking it. Anybody who drinks Jack Daniels needs to thank a slave that came up with the recipe. It was a slave that came up with the recipe. Anybody who thinks of McDonald's, I mean, it had nothing to do with black people. But the reason why you eat McDonald's is not because of the McDonald's brothers. It's because some oppressor took their product and took their whole business from them, stabbed them in the back, and took everything from them. They would do to their own people what they do to us. And we have no recourse for it. There's nothing that we can do. There's nothing that we could do. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
Come. James Redpath, the white director of Freedmen's Education in the region, organized about 30 speeches by union officers.
All right, so it's a bunch of people coming up and talking. Right? Keep going.
Come. Missionaries and black ministers. Participants sang patriotic songs like America and We'll Rally Around the Flag and the Star-Spangled Banner. In the afternoon, 3 white and black Union regiments marched around the graves and staged a drill.
Now, hold on. How many?
3 white and black Union regiments marched around the graves and staged a drill.
Hold on. All right, so I just looked up how large is a regiment in the Civil War, during the Civil War time frame. So 3 of them. One of them is about 1,000 men. One of them is about 1,000 men. Now, it doesn't say if it was 3 black and 3 white. It just says 3 black and white. So let's go with the low number, 3,000 men. 3,000 men. You got 3,000 Union people. Children. You got 3,000 3 regiments, which is 3,000 people, the military veterans. You got 3,000 children. And if you got 3,000 children, you gotta. We didn't have single parents like we had, So it was at least another 1,000, because knowing us, we don't have just one kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's 2. So that's about 8,000 people right there. But at the beginning, it says it was about 10,000 people. Right. That's a large number. That's a large number of people coming out to celebrate for it to be a blip in history where no one knows about it. But they know of a handful of women, white women, in some podunk town in Mississippi that threw some flowers on some graves? You serious? A whole year after this? Come on. Y'all niggas is lying, man. I do not believe you.
Okay.
You need more people. You know what I'm saying? This is a bunch of lie. But however, it doesn't matter who started it. Doesn't matter. Why? Because the Most High says, I hate, I despise your feast days, and I do not smell upon your solemn assembly. This party that we were having, he hated it. Why are you celebrating the lives of the oppressor, the people that put you in this situation? Why are you celebrating their sacrifice, quote unquote? No, the Most High hates it. And because the Most High hates it, we should hate it. We should not celebrate Memorial Day. The only memorial that we should be celebrating is the memorial that Christ gave up his life for us.
Right.
That's the only memorial that we should celebrate. And you know what? You should celebrate that every day you wake up. It's not one day or this day or that. Every day that you wake up, you should be thanking the Most High that he sent Christ back to actually bring you back into the fold, bring me back into the fold, bring our kids back into the fold. Because without Christ, the crap that Esau has done to us, we would never be able to come back into Israel. Never. Scripture says if you miss a Passover, you are cut off from Israel. Cut off. Certain things that you if you were to do, you would be cut off from Israel. How many of us have broken the law before we even knew what the law was? How many of us had a bacon, lettuce, cheese sandwich, whatever? How many of us celebrated Christmas? How many of us got high, smoked cigarettes, slept with another man's woman, popped whores, made whores out of the daughters of Zion? How many of us have done all these wicked things? And because of the memorial, the sacrifice that Christ has made, we are allowed to repent, turn away from all that wickedness, turn away from all that ungodliness, and actually follow the Most High God's law. If we sleep with more than one woman, we are keeping them forever.
That's right.
And with that, I pass the class to priest and officer Pagaibawa.
I.S.U.P.K. security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K. out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahanna. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After the 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. It means tenth in Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. The upcoming holy convocation. The Feast of First Fruits starts after the Sabbath of unleavened bread, sundown, Saturday, April 23rd, 2022. Count 50 days and celebrate the 50th day, which is Sunday, June 12th, 2022. Start before sundown. You can find this in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verses 10 through 22. Remind Akim and Akwafian to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, you used to start wearing all black which includes black boots, black shirts, black pants, black headband, or scarf.
Hold on 1 second. Also, this Thursday, June 2nd. General Muhammad will be holding Thursday night scripture breakdown right here in DC in this building. General Muhammad, that's right. Damn right. General Muhammad will be here in this building Thursday, June 2nd. Class starts at 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. He will be here Thursday. If you need counsel, get a hold of your camp leader. If you want to be in attendance, call the number. You grab a flyer and call the number. Or if you don't have the number, type in I.S.U.P.K. Washington, D.C. You'll find the number there. All right. Commander General Yahanna's Black Watch will be on tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 11 p.m. Like, subscribe, and share his channel.
Come. And with that, I say Imadium, which means to stand. We'll give one courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel. Imadium Shabbat, Imadium Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah Barakatah.
Yahya Matah, class dismissed.
That's why I don't know you. I'm not letting nobody sell you crack. You know why? Because I never saw you before. But you a black man like me. That's right. And it's worth something.
This is Black Watch with Commanding General Yahanna, the only man to lead blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans.
God made man on this earth. The white man he made man. God made man. God wants man to obey him.
Bringing you real news.
We don't need a black man in the White House. We need a black man in every black house.
For many years, there's a lot of black people who didn't realize how deep the racism of white America was.
You ain't gonna do nothing unless you decide where you gonna stand at with the Most High.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Righteous solutions to issues plaguing our nation.
Boy, you better wake up and see the power that is within blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians.
Join us every Monday from 9 to 11 p.m. Black Watch. Let the show begin.
So now that I know that Christ was killed for me, I know I have to please my Father. That's the underlying point of John 3:16. That God killed his favorite for me. For me.
They like to talk a lot. They like to claim leadership. They like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. But they don't really need that authority. They don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this white ass, need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees.